Okay. Is there any questions about this part? Yes.
Back to the last slides.
Mm-hmm.
There's individual, social capital. Yeah.
This one, or do you want the numbers or the equation?
This one.
Yeah.
Individual social capital and the community social capital. The community social capital using the goodness index to measure.
Mm-hmm. No, individual social capital in this paper by Rocco is how people responded to the question about trust. Most people can be trusted, or maybe most people really can't be trusted. And so it was a 0 to 10 scale. I think I might have that. Oops, going the wrong way again. Excuse me. Yeah, here we are. Generally speaking, would you say that most people can be trusted, or that you can't be too careful in dealing with people?
Or use only one question to...
One question. And then that answer is sort of being recycled as community social capital, but to get that, you're not averaging across the individual response across everybody, you're averaging it across a reference group, a sort of more limited age group.
So the reference group is the community social capital?
That's right. The average for the reference group is the community social capital in this study. Yeah.
Is that it's more important to to look for the causation rather than association?
Well, obviously we're interested in association because if there's no association, there can't be any causation. But ultimately, I think we're interested in causation because if something causes something else, by impacting, if our policy can impact on the something, we can then obtain the effects on other things.
One measure is to find some instrumental variable to find the causation.
One approach for testing for causality is instrumental variables, yes.
And is there any effective instrumental variables?
Well, I don't overgeneralize, but instrumental variables, they're a great idea, but we have great deal difficulty finding such variables. Again, part of the problem comes, we are typically using existing data sets, and existing data sets have been designed for various reasons. They haven't usually been designed with testing causation and causality around about social capital in mind. So they're collecting the data for different reasons. If you recall, you might not, on Friday afternoon I showed you what data was now being routinely collected in England and being called social capital. And it was a set of responses from different surveys. So there's a crime survey that's annual that takes place each year and asks a random selection of people about their perception and experience of crime. And that's going on and it's going to be done anyway because policymakers are interested in or the level of crime, because a survey will capture some that's unreported, things like that. So it's going to happen anyway. But then the statisticians or the statistical agency are taking some of the responses from that crime survey and turning them into social capital measures and things like that. There's a European social survey where simultaneously in a number of countries each year or every few years a whole series of questions are being asked. Now this is because people are interested in comparing countries within Europe. And again, the statisticians from the statistical agency are saying, oh, we could use some of those as part of our measure of social capital. And so it's that problem that typically you're not starting with a blank sheet and saying, right, what would I really like to measure? and then going out and collecting it, what you're doing, and we all do this in our research to some extent, what you're doing is thinking, what data are available? Can I use it? And I think it's that issue which is causing us to not make as much progress as we might. But of course it's much cheaper. I mean, it's a lower cost activity to use data that's being collected for some other purpose. Yes?
Could you go back to the table which is showing?
Yeah. This one.
Yes.
Yeah.
When looking at this table, is it fair to say that individual social capital is a stronger predictor of someone's subjective health compared to rather than community social capital?
I think it is to say it's having, quantitatively, it's having much more effect. So variations in individual social capital are having a much bigger effect. Also, statistically, there's a big confidence interval around this, whereas this is a tighter estimate. Standard error of the estimate's much smaller. So in that sense, it's fair enough to say that. However, I guess if we think about implications for policy, which I'll be coming on to a bit more now, if you change community social capital, that's changed for everybody, potentially. And so, although the individual effect is small, you might be having that effect across a lot of people. If you change an individual's social capital, or a group of individuals' social capital, it's having a big effect for them, but not so much impact on other people. So I guess what we can't really say is, from a policy perspective yet, this is not enough information by itself to say which is more important. Also, I do come back to the idea that community social capital here is being argued to simply be a function of individual capital. It's not an average of all individuals, but an average of the reference group. Now, again, I come back to the idea that I think maybe there's something about community social capital which is more than just the sum of the individuals. And this is saying, really, it's just the individuals.